Welcome to Elf-Centered. Let's talk about being a gentleman. I read recently an article online, one of many that presents the same kind of attitude and approach, that was shared by a number of friends, that was entitled, "Feminism Needs Allies, Not Gentlemen." And I would disagree. Now, where the article went wrong was they lumped all the gentlemen into one pile. And they're not. There are those who say they are gentlemen, who dress and talk about it because they've learned that certain keywords get a positive response, much like nice guy used to. Much like, there are a number of words that have been changed over time, primarily because people have abused them. And then there are those who are. It is not a case of actions speak louder than words. It is not a case of words are better than actions. It is the two of them together meshing properly, actions and words. I don't talk about being a gentleman much. If it comes up, I will. I wrote a blog entry on it. I'm doing a video on it. But I was raised to be a gentleman. It was an expectation of the place and time of how and when I was raised. And it was a cultural thing as well, though it was dying out at that time. So many of them weren't. At times I can be a bit of a cad, a little bit of a rogue, and that's part of being a gentleman, knowing when and accepting the fact that you are being this way. It's easy to dress like a gentleman. The suit, the hat, there's the uniform. But a gentleman is comfortable no matter how he dresses, though he often elects for style in addition to the comfort. I don't do jeans and t-shirts often, but I have been seen in jeans and t-shirts, and it's very entertaining that when I do, people who know me will walk right past me. A gentleman is not gentle. That's not where the word comes from. A gentleman is gentil, which is polite, refined, respectable. A gentleman is not a gentle man. Quite the opposite at times, because a gentleman has to be strong and firm. He is not strong and firm at the cost of others, or to others. First thing, and I'm kind of boiling this down, I've got a longer blog entry and I might link it, but I'm going to boil this down to a few points. First of all, courtesy as much as courage. Etiquette. How you treat people in your actions as well as your words. Common courtesies. Respect for people. Treating people like people, not objects and things. A gentleman knows which fork to use, when to hold the chair for a lady or a coat, and when not to. Particularly in this day and age when the signals we get are kind of mixed. Sometimes women want the flower on the first date, sometimes they don't want the flowers ever. Sometimes they want the car door held, sometimes they do not. I drive a car that does not have a lock on the passenger side, so holding the car door for a woman is difficult for me. I accept it. It's a car that was invented for a more equal kind of environment. A gentleman is as respectful of a little girl as he is of a lady. And it's something that they mention. Really, you see a person's real behavior when they're dealing with someone from which they can gain no advantage, from which they can get nothing. More so than from somebody who can give them something. A gentleman is neither selfless nor selfish, but knows when to be both. Because being completely selfless is as damaging as being completely selfish. There are times to pay attention to you. Have the bubble bath, shut off the world, read a book, relax, do what you want and what you need to build the healthier you. And there are times to be selfless, to give up something so that there's the betterment of others. It's how he treats everybody, people, not just by sex or gender or color or creed or belief, but how he treats everybody. There's an old saying, forgive and forget. A lot of people don't do either, because a lot of people in this world, they may graduate from high school, but they never leave. It's all popularity contests and who's sleeping with who, and ugh. A gentleman forgives. but does not forget. He doesn't cause nor accept stress or drama. He is aware of it. He knows it's going to happen. But he works to not allow it as best as he can within his sphere of influence. I have forgiven a lot. I have been forgiven a lot. I have been wronged, and I have wronged people. A gentleman does so, but he does not forget. Because, again, as the old saying goes, burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, shame on me. Trust. It's a very difficult and important thing. It's very fragile. A gentleman is honest and transparent. A gentleman doesn't play games or have ulterior motives. Now, it's difficult to get away from agendas and such because you always have them, and you don't always share them with people. You don't say, I'm doing this because I would like to. But you don't take advantage or abuse people through your agendas. Matter of fact, it is easiest and best for a gentleman to include others in his plans and agendas. Because support results in better, faster, more equitable change. A gentleman is discreet. Because I don't talk about lovers and girlfriends, people get this misperception that I don't have them, that I'm asexual, or that I've run into a number of different misperceptions and assumptions. I'm discreet. I do not need to share my personal life. There was a time in my life that I would. I whined about being single, like many people do. I got feedback from people. It taught me a lot. And one of the important things I got from feedback was, so you constantly complain about being single. How is that working for you in finding a relationship? People don't want to hear that. It doesn't help. It makes you sound desperate. And everybody knows what that does for you. Desperation is not a good place to be. I'm discreet. You don't need to know about certain parts of my relationships. Other parts, if I am pleased and proud and I want to crow on top of the apartment building, then I will do that, if it's okay with the other party in the relationship. My granddad used to say, you are brought into this world with one thing and you leave this world with that thing. And that is your word. And if you lose it, you've lost everything. And a gentleman knows this. He does not promise what he cannot keep. And he goes to the ends of the earth to make sure those promises are kept. When he says something, he has the conviction to back what he says. Most importantly, to be a gentleman, the most important characteristic, the one thing, if you're going to ignore everything else, that will still possibly edge you across into that he's a gentleman thing, is a gentleman is aware and pays attention. To each as they need, from each as they can. I know it's the tagline of the Communist parties, but honestly, a gentleman provides what those around him need because he is aware of it. He is aware of their desires and wants as much as he is aware of their fears and suspicions. Just because you don't accept drama does not mean you don't pay attention to it. Just because you, as a gentleman, you do not allow stress into your life from other people does not mean you should ignore it. And this is one of the things I struggle with the most, because again, I don't get subtle hints. It takes me a while. I'm not the fastest mentally. It takes me time to parse and process, but I work at it. A gentleman is always aware of those around him who enter his sphere of influence, who enter his life, his friends, his family, which is the friend family, the non-blood family. And that is, I think, the most important, that he is aware, that he does pay attention, and he responds accordingly. Again, my blog entry, and I'll link it, goes into much greater detail. It's not that hard, and it is an excellent thing to aspire to. Not just to say, because saying it gets you a free pass to do certain things, but it's something to be. Because honestly, do not we all want to be better people? Is not the point to life to take what you are and make it better? Demand better of your music, demand better of the media and the art, demand better of the information you're given, demand better of yourself. Every day try to be a little bit better than you were the day before. Always work towards improving. No one is without flaws. No one is without failure, but we learn from that. No one is without mistakes, but we apologize and fix and carry on. And in the gentleman thing, one of the things I'm going to touch on is chivalry. I find it entertaining that many concepts, many words change over time. There's a different meaning now than there used to be. But there are so many people fighting against allowing the word chivalry and what it means to change. And it is different now than it was. And people don't understand what it was. It was an ideal and a concept more than a practice. It was the knight was chivalrous. Other people, it was something that applied to a certain segment of society. He learned chess as much as he learned sword fighting. He learned dancing as much as he learned horse riding. And where I see a lot of people argue it is chivalry is about protecting women because they're weak. Nonsense. Chivalry is about protecting those who are weaker than you. Think about those two sentences for a moment and how they differ. The second sentence acknowledges there are people as strong as or stronger than you. Those who are weaker than you does not specify sex or gender. The knight protected the peasant, male or female. The knight protected all people who were weaker than him. He helped them. It's part of being a gentleman. Weaker is not something you are always. It's something that you can be in the moment. And it's something where the gentleman, the chivalric gentleman, can offer assistance. You can say no. You can say, I got this. Not a problem, been here before, going to work through it. But he offers the assistance. And he learns how to wield the sword verbally as well as physically, and how to play chess mentally as well as physically. He learns how to ride the horse, if you think of the horse as life, as much as he learns to dance. And what is life if not a dance? Chivalry has changed, but the core concepts very much apply to being a gentleman. And if all you want to find is what's wrong with being a gentleman and what's wrong with chivalry, I am sorry for you that you're going to dismiss these people and will never benefit from knowing them. Don't say, be. Or, in the words of a certain fictional gentleman in a certain cult film, don't dream it, be it.